Hello everyone, welcome to this week's edition of Telegraph Herald, More Than the Score. I am your host, Steve Wortman. Alongside me this week, TH Sports Editor Jim Leitner. How's it going, Jim?
Not too bad, not too bad.
Good. The man himself right here pushes deadline every night to get the great summer Iowa baseball coverage in the news section, as well as semi-pro. You're the summer baseball guru, Jim.
Yeah, they actually pushed me a little deeper on deadline than I would really like, and some of those long pitching changes or kind of drive me batty on deadline. But it's fun. It's great to get out in the great weather and cover some great high school and semi-pro baseball.
Yes, and the high school season was wrapping up here with Western Dubuque at the state tournament. Bobcats' first trip to state since 2012, and they bow into the semifinals to obviously a very good Urbandale team. Can you take us through their run down at the state tournament?
Well, yeah, they actually had a great run at the state tournament. Actually, Western Dubuque is the second smallest school of the 48 in Class 4A, and yet they made it all the way down to the state semifinals. You look at the state field, WD had about roughly 700 kids in their school, and they're going up against schools like West Des Moines Valley, which has more than 2,100, and most of the schools that were down there were in the 15 to 1,600 range. So they're at least half the size of a lot of these schools, but they proved they belonged. They proved that they belong with the elite teams in Class 4A, and I think when you have three NCAA Division I prospects, commits on your team, you're going to have a chance to beat just about anybody, no matter what the class is.
Yeah, and now they take us through the big win. How'd they pull off the win over North Scott, and what was the key in that Urbandale loss?
Well, I think a big key throughout the tournament just to get there and to beat North Scott was their pitching. They had great pitching from both Calvin Harris and Sam Goodman in their first four tournament games. And what I really like about their lineup is, and I see this all the time in high school baseball, when your entire lineup is contributing, 1 through 9, you have a chance to win. And, I've seen that with a lot of other teams that have made it to the state tournament, like Beckman in the past and Wallard in the past. It's not just 1 or 2 or 3 guys that really can carry you. You have to have a complete lineup. You have to have 9 guys who are chipping in here and there along the tournament trail. And that's exactly what they had. The top of the order, you have Damon Yeager, Sam Goodman, Calvin Harris bats third. Kyle Lehman provides great protection in the number 4 spot. And Sawyer Nauman turned into a really good RBI guy for a freshman. So you have a really solid top of the order. And then the bottom part of the order, Zach Bierman, Peyton Quagliano, Ryan Gasper, Ben Bryant, Devin Ludwig, and Matt Myers, those guys were all contributing as well, offensively and defensively, and that's really what you have to do to be successful at that level.
Yeah, now this Urbandale team that eliminated the Bobcats in the semifinals went on to win the championship, and some people may remember seeing them on ESPN, is that right?
They were. They went to the Little League World Series about 5 years ago. I can't remember how far they went, but to make it to that level is pretty exciting. I don't know if a lot of people understand how difficult it is to reach Williamsport. There are thousands of teams across the country, and I think only 8 from the United States make it. So you have to play a lot of high intensity games, a lot of high leverage games to make it to that level. And Urbandale has a lot of really talented players up and down their lineup as well, and they compete in a really tough conference, the Central Iowa Metro League, which for a lot of people will tell you that's the best baseball conference in the state from top to bottom, and you have to really compete to win there. They actually finished second in their conference, and so they had faced a lot of great talent throughout the entire summer, and they were battle tested when it came to the championship game and the semifinals against WD.
Now, to get to state, the Bobcats had a very impressive win over a highly ranked Cedar Rapids Prairie team, and obviously this is a good sign as WD is about to be heading into the MVC.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people gave Western Dubuque a lot of credit going into the sub-state final against Prairie. Prairie was ranked number 3. They're a champion in the Mississippi Valley Conference. They'd been to state the previous 2 seasons, and I think they pretty much expected to roll through Western Dubuque. But Sam Goodman had a great outing on the mound. They had offense up and down the lineup, scored 9 runs, And it really wasn't one player who really led them offensively. It was, a collective effort. And that's why they were able to get past Prairie. And like you said, that's a team that they're going to face in the Mississippi Valley Conference beginning this year. And they definitely proved that they belong at that level.
Yeah, now great season comes to an end for the Bobcats. But earlier this week also, the All-State baseball teams came out kind of showcasing all the great talent we had here in the area.
Yeah, we were very well represented on the sports writers All-State team. There'll be another one. The Coaches Association will come out next week. But we had 3 players from our area make first team All-State. Calvin Harris, he's an Ole Miss commit. Sam Goodman, he's a Wichita State commit. And we also had Logan Otting from Cascade. All 3 of those guys made first team All-State. On the second team, we had Beckman's Joel Vasky and Jackson Bennett. And third team selections were Spencer Gert, Harris Hoffman from Cascade, and Gannon O'Brien also from Cascade. Spencer Gert is a first baseman at Wahlert. All those guys had great seasons this year, and I think we're going to see a lot of those names again next week when the Coaches Association comes out. And in a couple weeks when we have our all-area team, those guys will be very well represented on there as well.
All right, well, season's coming to an end, but if you're a fan of the Diamonds, be sure to keep an eye on the Telegraph Herald coming up this weekend. We'll have the Telegraph Herald All-Area Softball team, along with Coach and Players of the Year. And then coming up next weekend will be the All-Area Baseball teams here. You got work to do, I guess, huh?
I do. I hopefully you're not going to stick me down in that dungeon like we did for your All-Area Girls Basketball team a couple years ago.
Unfortunately, I don't have authority to do that.
I think I'm a little more ahead of the process than you were that time. But it's going to be a lot of fun.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this week's edition of Telegraph Herald More Than the Score. I am your host, Steve Ortman, alongside Jim Leitner. We'll see you next week.